Hi, I'm George Maestri, and today we're going to take a look at using camera matching to create a background scene. So in this case, we're going to use it to create the buildings and driveway of the scene from a single photograph. Let's go ahead and start with a blank scene. Now, camera matching is based off of an image. So what we need to do is create a camera in the scene and then bring in an image as an image plane and then use that as modeling reference. And then we'll use that image again as the texture as well. So we're going to start off with a camera. So we're going to go ahead and do create cameras, and we're going to create a basic camera. And this one came in a little small here, so I'm going to scale it up. And then I'm going to move my camera off of the origin. Now, in order for this to work, I do need to attach an image plane to the camera. So I'm going to go into panels, and we're going to switch over to camera 1, which was the camera that we just created. And then under view, I'm going to select image plane, import image. Now, in my source images folder, I have a camera match image.jpg file, and that's the driveway that we're going to be recreating. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And as you can see, it comes in as an image plane. Now, before we do anything, we need to make sure that our camera is set to match the camera that took this image. Now, this camera was a 35mm lens. So I want to make sure that my lens is at 35 in my Maya camera, and that will match my reference camera. Then I want to start positioning this in space so that the grid lines up with the driveway of this building. Now, one of the things you can do is take detailed measurements of your scene, and this will help you to place that. Now, if you have your units set up, you can start to use these units to create a scene that matches what you've photographed. Now, I know that I'm approximately 6 feet tall, and that can be used as a part of the information that I use. And so if I take the camera from eye height, that's going to be somewhere around 6 feet. And so if I get everything matched up, it should work. Now, I've got this pretty close here, but if you want, you can select your camera and then just frame it in any one of these viewports and adjust it to make sure that this grid line lines up. Now, we can also go into our standard perspective viewport to kind of see how this is set up. So I've got this camera, and it's pointed at this image plane, and then this grid here is all lining up. Now, once we have this in place, I do want to change my view of my camera. So I'm back in my camera 1 viewport, and I'm going to change my camera settings to film gate, and this shows me the entire image. Now, once I have everything aligned, I can start modeling to this reference. So I'm going to select my camera and lock everything off. So I'm going to go right click in the channel box and hit lock selected. So I've locked all of my X, Y, and Z motion here. So now I can't move my camera, but I can model. So I'm going to go ahead and create a simple polygonal plane. And as you can see, it comes in at the origin, and I can just scale that up, or I can go to the attribute editor to adjust the size. So I'm going to go to the polyplane 1. First thing I want to do is turn down my subdivisions in width and height. Then I want to get this so that it basically aligns with the driveway. So I want the corner of this to match this inside corner here. Now again, if we go out to a 4 view, you can see that we have this geometry now in place. And then we can start to build on this geometry to build the rest of the scene. So first thing I'm going to do is go into edge mode. I'm going to select this edge and then shift select this edge and then extrude. We can do that by doing edit mesh, extrude, or Control E. And then I can just bring this up. And as you can see, it pretty closely matches the top edge of this. It's not perfect, so I may have to readjust my camera. But we're going to go with this for now. So now that I've got this top edge of this right side building up, we can go ahead and extrude this edge here. So I'm going to select this edge. Again, Control E to extrude. Find that edge. There's another one. Again, Control E to extrude, and I'm extruding that. So now I have the inside of this. And if we wanted to, we could turn on X-ray so we can kind of see how the geometry matches against my camera. And it's starting to look pretty good. Now we can also add additional detail to this if we want. So we have this driveway door, this garage door here, and we also have this window. So let's go ahead and add some geometry to account for that. So we go into Mesh Tools, do an Insert Edge Loop, and then I want to make sure I align this with the outside edge of this garage on both sides, right there. And then we could do another edge loop here for the top. And then we also have this window, so I can do either side of my window as well as the top and bottom. But also notice how this bottom is a little bit of a chamfer there, so we may have to account for that as well. So now that I have all of this in place, I can go back into face mode, select these, again extrude by using Control E. And there's my garage door. Select these, extrude. There's my window. And if I go into a perspective view, I can select this edge here and move that up a little bit just to create that chamfer just a little bit. And there we go. I could spend all day doing this geometry, but let's go ahead and now project our image. So we do this by creating a texture and then using projection as the way to place that texture onto the object. So I'm going to select my object. I'm going to go ahead and turn off X-ray so we can see exactly what the object looks like. And then I'm going to create a shader, and I'm going to actually create what's called a surface shader. So I'm going to go into Surface Material, make sure my object's selected, and apply it. So now that I have the surface material on, I need to bring in the color, which is the actual image. So I'm going to select my surface shader, and under Out Color, I'm going to go ahead and click on the checker box. And then under File, we need to select that. Now, normally you're used to left-clicking on this, but if we right-click on this, it gives us some options. And the option we want is Create as Projection. So when we do that, it projects that image onto the object. Now, we're not seeing this. If we turn on hardware texturing, well, we're still not seeing it because we don't have the image applied yet. So I'm going to go here into Image, Image Name. We're going to select this exact same image we had before, camera match image.jpg. So now that that's applied, we can go up here and we can change our projection type. So now I'm in the projection node here. And under projection type, I want to go to perspective. But we also need to tell it, where am I getting my perspective from? Well, we have to go down to camera projection attributes and link it to camera shape 1. And there we go. This is actually pretty close, but if we hop out to our perspective view and turn on hardware texturing, you'll see that it's not quite there. See, this corner here is supposed to line up with this corner of the geometry. So it's not exactly lined up. So again, I'm going to go over to my surface shader, select the out color, go down, and then under camera projection attributes, we have fit fill. And we're looking for not horizontal, but vertical. And vertical should line everything up. So now this geometry has that image on it. And as you can see, just using the perspective window, we've got some pretty good action here. So I can go ahead and create another camera. And let's go ahead and look through that. We're going to look through camera 2. And we can adjust this camera to match. So now I've got a scene. So let's go ahead and do one more little thing here. We're going to import a car. So I'm going to go ahead and do File, Import, and we should have camera match car.ma. Import that, and there we go. So now I have this in the scene, and we can animate this or do whatever we want. So there you have it. This is a very nice way to turn flat images into 3D objects. It works not only for backgrounds, it also works for objects as well. So go ahead and play with this in your own scenes, and it's a really great tool for visual effects as well.